and going undefeated in ALCAA in their first year back. Kendall Phillip wins game 1, 15-0. She allowed just one hit while striking out 7. Sydney Schuler was the winning pitcher in game 2. She allowed 5 hits and had 3 strikeouts in an 18-2 win. Leading Clinton hitters were Kendall Phillip, Libby Fair, Lily Thompson, who had a home run, Eliana Dodson, Chloe Houghton, Sydney Schuler, Davia Welch.
Before that. So she had 3 in a doubleheader, which was very cool, and it was against Blissfield. So.
Clinton finishes the LCAA season 23-7. Onstead 0-20-1 overall and 0-11-1 in the LCAA. So 2 teams at opposite ends of the LCAA. Hudson also finished LCAA play with a 7-7 record in a split with Ida. They lost 3-2 and won 8-2. Lauren Hill pitching in the win. Hudson was led at the plate by Brianna Bork, Dinah Horvath, and Lauren Hill. Overall record for the Lady Tigers is 13-21. Blissfield Royals swept Columbia Central 11-1 and 15-0. Ty Wyman got the win in the opener. He is now 7-0 on the season. Gavin Gannon and Zach Horkey, they led the game off with back-to-back home runs in game 1. Gannon and Horkey ended up with 2 home runs each on the day. Other major contributors for Blissfield: Ethan Steins, Nolan Savage, Owen Pixley, and Trent Freudenberg. Blissfield's league record is now 13-1, and their overall record is 31-3. So the Royals going strong. Onstead baseball swept a doubleheader against state-ranked Clinton, and now the Wildcats have won 4 straight. 3-0 in game 1 and 4-0 in game 2. A little bit of controversy in game 2. The game ended early. A player for Clinton was ejected, and they did not finish the game. That is from, we get that report from Onstead. Onstead's attack was led by Brock Shoemaker, Lincoln Lipinski, Ethan Thompson, Harry Moore, Brody Giroux, Logan Hunt, Luke Brown, and Logan Klotz. Onstead is now 10-8 overall and 7-5 in the LCAA. Also in high school baseball, you won't know it by the score, Madison defeated Adrian Tuesday night 23-13. Sounds like a football score. Colin Hickman picked up the win for the Trojans. The offensive parade for Madison was led by Walker Claiborne with 3 hits. Robert Gona had his second home run. Nolan Matthews added 3 hits. Other contributors at the plate for the Trojans: Eli Ruiz, Colin Hickman, and Bronson Scott. The Maples tallied 13 hits. They were led by Tristan Hayes, Maverick Slavin, Brendan Howard, Sean Parker, Devin Carpenter, Gunnar Lansdale, and Zach Thompson. Madison is now 13-13 overall and 6-6 in the TCC.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
That's a call from that game.
Yeah. Looking at the score, and a lot of guys had hits, but I'm guessing neither team used their ace pitchers for that one. Probably saving them for Saturday for the districts, would be my guess. Or if they did pitch them, they didn't pitch very long, just a little tune-up maybe. College baseball, the Adrian College Bulldogs take their high-powered offense into the national NCAA regional at Wisconsin Whitewater Thursday versus Salem State. In 39 games this season, Adrian holds a team batting average of .326 with 321 runs scored with 30 homers. 7 of the Bulldogs' everyday starters hold an average of above 300. Fifth-year senior Gunnar Rainey of Madison High School leads Adrian in at-bats with 150, hits 65, doubles 17, triples with 3, RBIs 41, and slugging percentage .667. Rainey recorded first-team All-MIAA this season and won the MIAA Position Player of the Year for the 2nd consecutive year. Willie Peralta threw 5 scoreless innings and now has scoreless outings in 3 of his 4 starts this season. He also earned his first win of the year as the Toledo Mud Hens defeated the Louisville Bats on Tuesday night at Louisville Slugger Field in a 2-1 win. Mud Hens got on the board right away thanks to a leadoff homer from Daz Cameron to center field on the second pitch of the game. Cameron notched his first 3-hit game of the season, including his first home run. Yariel Gonzalez recorded 2 more hits, extending his hitting streak to 8 straight. The Mud Hens infield turned 3 double plays to help keep the Bats off the board, and they play again tonight at Louisville Slugger Field, 6:30 first pitch. Tigers suffered their 4th straight defeat 4-1 to the Indians. If you're looking for a positive sign, for his 2nd consecutive start, Tariq Skubal recorded a career high 9 strikeouts. Good news in the world of football, capacity crowds will be allowed at Ford Field this fall. The latest rollback of COVID-19 restrictions in Michigan means the Detroit Lions will not have limits on crowd size for home games in 2021. Of course, their play may determine how many people actually go. Last year, the Lions played their first 2 home games with no fans in the stands and graduated to having about 750 friends and family members in attendance by the end of the year. Speaking of the Tigers, they are now again in last place in the American League Central with their loss on Tuesday. We've got some NBA playoffs and NHL playoff stuff that we'll talk about a little later in the show. And Wayne Gretzky is leaving the front office of the Edmonton Oilers, citing the pandemic and other life changes.
Like watching his team get swept by the Jets.
Yeah.
More on that later. I have
More on that later. Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. That's the update, Ian.
All right, I was going to say I have a couple other things from the email, sports at 965thecave.com. Lady Maples tennis. They got their first win of the season at the last home match of the year. The Maples winners were Elena Alvarez, the senior captain. In singles, she took it. They tied through 2 matches, and then the tiebreaker she won at 10-4. Victoria Miller, a senior, got 2 wins there, 6-2 and 6-2. Annika Nelson, 6-1, 6-1. Margaret Watson and Maya Soto, captain, in doubles, 6-2, 3-6, and then a tiebreaker, 10-4. Claire Rames and Anaya Yonder in doubles, 6-0 and 6-2. Gwendolyn Froelich and Molly Marquez, 6-1, 6-0. So congrats to the Lady Maples. We do have TCC Championship at Britton Deerfield. This is track and field for the boys. It says men, legally boys, most of them, unless you're 18, I guess.
I suppose some of the seniors could be at this point in the year.
True. The highest scoring county team, Sand Creek, taking 3rd place. Madison 4th, Morenci 6th, and BD in 7th. Winning, Erie Mason, Petersburg Summerfield in 2nd place. For the girls, Adrian Madison takes the 1st place. Sand Creek 2nd, Morenci 4th, BD 6th, and Erie Mason opposite ends of the spectrum as they pick up 7th place for the girls. So congrats to Madison, Sand Creek, and the rest of the TCC representing Lenawee County. That's what I have from the email. If you're a local coach or local fan, and maybe a parent, you want to get your team's scores on the air, just email us, sports@965thecave.com. If you don't remember, just find us on social media somewhere. We'll direct you to the email to get your scores on the air. Pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
The KISS method. Keep it simple. Stupid. You remember the KISS method?
I do.
You do? Okay.
I do.
All right, leftover time.
Okay.
Well, I got a couple notes here.
Hit me with them.
Some new music
Uh-oh.
today. Bumper music, talking music.
All right.
Some of it's new.
I like it.
So I'll use some of it here. I got a couple minutes.
Go.
This ain't new. We'll get to something new later. All right, my leftovers. I'm not on the show till Wednesday, so I need to kind of, give people my thoughts on maybe some big news that happened over the weekend or Monday and Tuesday. I will go back to Sunday. Started last week Thursday, but finished up on Sunday. Lefty, Phil Mickelson. Wow. At 50 years old to win a major, oldest to ever do it. I just took some notes here. And you can't talk about Phil Mickelson without Tiger Woods. You just can't.
They do kind of go together.
They do. Peanut butter jelly. Lefty and Tiger, they're this generation's, in my opinion, magic bird. I mean, my lifetime, you can't really find that in the NBA. Just one guy and one guy. It's always super team against the super team. So you go back to Magic and Bird. Lefty, personally, has been my guy. Of course, a fan of Tiger. I mean, you can't not be, just to watch him dominate the sport for so long. I look up to his short game, Phil. I mean, he puts himself in spots where he has to make crazy shots, but he takes them and he does them. I can relate because I'm not accurate. I am not. I'm spraying that thing all over the place. And but he recovers so well. He plays aggressive. You know, you look, let's say you're in the trees. I'm always looking to the green because Phil could hit shots like that. Between this tree branch and this one, if I go over here, that might not be the safest. You can just punch it out in the fairway. I'm not doing that. Like the way Phil plays that. I acknowledge Tiger's was just a better, more talented golfer than Phil, but who knows about his future right now. So the longevity factors into Phil's legacy, which is just simply incredible. And I think it's fair to say that if Tiger was not on the scene kind of at the same time as Phil, Mickelson would be considered one of the Mount Rushmore carve-outs of golf. I mean, you're talking Nicholas Palmer, those guys, and Phil Mickelson.
Yeah.
And Tiger bumped him off. You know, the head-to-head matchups, the overall career stuff, but to watch that crowd on Sunday almost mob Phil so he couldn't even get to his ball on the green was just tells you everything you need to know about him and how much people love what he does.
Yeah, I think he's a well-liked player by the fans. It's funny because on social media after the win, a lot of clips of him interacting with people in the gallery.
Oh, yeah.
And, just kind of interesting to see him as a person as opposed to a golfer. And, I've always been a big Phil Mickelson fan. Obviously I don't know him, what he's like in real life, but he always seems, like he's really trying to be an ambassador for the game. And I enjoy watching him play. It is sometimes a little nerve-wracking because he, as you said, sprays the ball a little bit sometimes or makes crazy shots, and it's like, is he really going to pull this off? And he does.
Where's he aiming again?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
He does. I mean, it's like he just makes stuff up sometimes, and obviously he probably practices that stuff.
I would think so.
Yeah, I mean, he's an amazing golfer. Certainly in the conversation for not the greatest of all time, obviously, but he's one of the 5 to 10 best players to ever play this game. Easy. He's a Hall of Famer. He's,
like you said, popular.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll get caught in a YouTube rabbit hole or a Facebook video rabbit hole, and you get hooked on Phil Mickelson interacting with fans.
Yeah.
Like he'll accidentally hit someone with a ball. He'll go over and sign his glove and make a joke, that type of thing. Like, why
check
couldn't
how
you?
they are.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Then make a joke of, why didn't you sit over here and maybe it would have bounced this way? He seems personable, at least on TV. Like you said, we don't know him.
I mean, he could be a big jerk in real life, but at least, with the crowds, he comes off as,
I think it would come out if he
I
were.
would think so too. I mean, he's not perfect. I'm sure he's done some things that people don't like in his life. None of us go through life without making somebody upset with us at some point.
Yeah. So, that's my leftover. Just want to talk about Phil Mickelson and his
Yeah.
win over the weekend.
Yeah.
I got a little emotional. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, it was cool to watch.
He's like in the best shape of his life,
Yeah.
trying to win this thing. He's 50. He's been so close so many times. He's won, obviously, so many times, but he finished it off.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching it. I sat in my recliner pretty much all Sunday watching golf and basketball and hockey, and occasionally I would flip to the Tigers. It was kind of a
Why would
lazy,
you do that?
It was a lazy Sunday.
Yeah, man. Life of John Roberts.
It was pretty good.
On the other
My
side.
wife's out of town, so.
Oh, there we go. Room all yourself.
Yeah.
We're talking NBA. Nhl Playoff
Playoffs.
Surprises. We'll talk about that. Coming up next, Ian Wentz, John Roberts, Inside the Cave. Welcome back Inside the Cave, 96.5 FM and 965thecave.com. And today we're back, baby. We are on our YouTube channel, One Away Broadcasting Company. Find us there. I posted the link to our Facebook and our Twitter, so you can find it that way. And if you were watching during the break, we cut the audio off, but you got some pretty good visual. We played rock, paper, scissors to see what topic we would do first. We're doing playoff surprises. I won rock, paper, scissors, so we're doing hockey first. NHL Playoff Surprises. I'm going to go 5-1. Least surprising to most surprising. Number 5. Florida's playoff Bob is still struggling. Back when Sergei Bobrovsky was the goalie for Columbus, his kind of signature was to choke in the playoffs. He's been benched for a rookie a couple times in the series against Tampa Bay. I get it, it's Tampa, but you got to show up in the playoffs, and Bob so far has not. I'll jump to number 4, because I know you only have 4.
I do.
We didn't discuss how many we were doing, so
No.
I did 5, you did 4. Nothing against you or me or whatever. So
No, that's...
Toronto not choking so far. It's been a while since they've been out of the first round of the playoffs. Beat Montreal last night, 4-0. They're not choking. They're not pulling a Leafs, and I'm surprised.
That's a good one. I like that one. I have Winnipeg. I know it was a 3 versus 2 matchup, but them winning this series over Edmonton. And what I like about it is, as I scroll down, 3 of the 4 games, I mean, they swept them, number 1. 3 of the 4 games went into overtime, with the last one being a triple overtimer. Number 4.
Up to number 3. I'm getting to that series later. Number 3, Colorado's dominance over St. Louis. I mean, you kind of thought it could happen going into the playoffs, because Colorado was, the class of hockey this year. But a sweep, the way they did it, impressive. Look out for Colorado there. My number 3 surprise so far.
Yeah, that's my number 3 also.
Okay.
Just how quick it was. I know it was the 1-4 matchup in that division, but St. Louis, defending Stanley Cup champions? No, 2 years
Couple years ago.
Couple
Yeah.
years ago. I was a little surprised how quickly I think the Avs are really good.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, I mean, I know they are, but they're
President's Trophy
showing
winners.
they're
Right, but
they're the real deal.
in pro sports, you don't expect sweeps, or you see a sweep like that. I mean, that was quick.
Yeah.
They brushed them aside quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was over before the Canadian team started their playoff series.
Probably right. You're probably right. Number 2, surprise, Boston beating the Capitals in 5. The way this thing started, back and forth, overtime games, and then Boston rolled off 3 straight. Bye-bye Ovi, onto the second round. They lose Chara, they lose Krug from that defense. They just pick up where they left off. That's my number 2 surprise. I thought that would go 7. Boston said, hold my beer. We're going to beat them in 5. That's my number 2.
My number 2, the Nashville Predators. They're hanging in there against the top-seeded Carolina Hurricanes. I've been impressed with the grit that the Predators have been showing, and they have a legitimate chance to win this series. They're going to have to win the next 2 to do it, but
They've won 2 straight before.
Game 6 is at Nashville, and then anytime you get to a Game 7, anybody can win that. It's in Carolina, but I've been impressed with the Predators in that 4-1 match, 1-4 matchup.
My number one NHL playoff surprise. The choke from Edmonton. Come on. I mean, I know you said it's the 3-2.
But to get swept.
Swept.
Yeah.
And to not produce. I mean, they weren't even scoring goals in their series. I mean, they made the Jets look like the Avalanche looked. They had one game where they had more than 3 goals. I mean, it was 4-3 overtime, triple overtime, 5-4 loss, 1-0, 4-1. I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Not pretty.
Giving credit to Winnipeg, but come on. I mean, they were a hot team, a trendy pick to win the cup, or at least compete. And they don't even get out of the first round. They don't even win a game. Jets really had a stranglehold in that series. That's my biggest surprise, is the choking from Edmonton. That's really all it is. Yeah, St. Louis didn't choke.
Right.
Colorado's just that good.
Yes.
Edmonton, gross. You choked.
Yeah. Not good, Edmonton.
No.
Well, my number one is another potential choke job. And it's a 1-4 series, but it's on the other side. The Penguins and the Islanders. They're going to Game 6 in Long Island. Islanders could knock out the Penguins. The Islanders were my team last year in the playoffs, if you remember.
Yes.
Ian. And I'm impressed again this year. They just find a way to get it done in the playoffs. They're my dark horse to win the Stanley Cup. And when Pittsburgh loses, it's never a bad thing. I'm not a Crosby and Malkin guy. Probably goes back to the days when they used to battle it out with the Wings.
Almost over a decade ago.
Yeah.
That's weird to think about how young those two were back then.
And now they're aging superstars.
And they're still
productive. They're great players. Don't get me wrong. I just don't like them. So that's my number one. The Islanders and on the verge of eliminating the Penguins.
All right, so that's our top 4/top 5
Yep.
NHL playoff surprises. We have time to switch up. Another league in the playoffs right now. The National Basketball Association. Now, these games the series are not as advanced. So I had trouble with this more than hockey.
I only have 4 there too, so don't feel bad.
I squeezed 5 out.
Okay.
And we'll see how it goes here.
Okay.
So I'll do my first 2.
Yeah, you keep going first since you have more. This is like Mondays with Jeff with winners and losers of the weekend. He's always got 37 winners and
and a couple losers. All right, one team that's not a loser, Brooklyn's Big 3. They're gelling. They didn't play a ton during the season because injury or load management. They come out and they are just making quick work of Boston in that first series. So that's my number 5. Milwaukee dominating Miami. Kind of different than the bubble. Miami knocking out Milwaukee last year. It's looking like a different story. The Heat are not as good. Milwaukee's on a mission. That's my number 4.
That is also my number 4, Ian. I really thought coming into this series, based on last year and based on how the Heat were playing down the stretch, and I know Milwaukee was hot down the stretch too, but I just thought Miami might be a good matchup for them. But I think this is a big step for the Bucks, and they're a real threat to win the East.
Number 3, and if you were listening to the DA show earlier, they were talking about him a lot. And when I made the list, they'd only played 1 game, but it's the same for game 2. Luka Doncic dominating the Clippers. One of the better defensive teams in basketball. Luka just putting on a clinic over the Clippers. Dallas up 2-0 in that series. Shocking the West Coast here with the Clippers. A lot of people's favorites to go to, maybe even win the NBA Finals this year. So Luka dominating his number 3.
My number 3 is how easy Brooklyn is making it look versus Boston. I think Boston's in real trouble. I think they could get swept. And Brad Stevens might lose his job in Boston. I regret, what's his name? Their best player, he's hurt. He's not playing. But still, I watched last night's game. It was like they didn't even want to be there almost for most of the game. So Brooklyn, how easy they're going to get rid of the Celtics, and they're going to it could go 4 and be done.
My second most surprising thing. Do we realize that the Lakers are actually the 7th seed in the West, and they eked out a win last night against the Suns?
Yeah, that's been a good series. So
I don't
far.
get it. I don't know why all these national outlets and national commentators are drooling all over the Lakers. There's going to be a dogfight with the Suns.
It is. I agree with you. But I think if the Lakers had been healthy all year, they're not the 7th seed.
No, but that's
where they are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
who
get
they
it.
are.
Yeah.
Since when has LeBron been 100%? Since when has AD been 100%?
Right.
Opening tip
Yeah.
of the season?
Maybe.
Then they're dealing with something.
We're going to have to look at that. One of them might have been out the first game.
Possibly.
Yeah.
That's my second one is, I guess, realizing the Lakers are the 7th seed, why we're bashing on the Suns so much. I mean, they're going to give the Lakers all they can handle.
Yeah. My number 2, the Memphis Grizzlies. In normal years, they wouldn't even be in the playoffs. They were the 9th place team in the Western Conference. They went into Utah and won game 1 after winning 2 play-in games. This is a good young basketball team that's only, I think, going to get better going forward. If they beat the Jazz tonight, the Jazz are in trouble. I mean, losing game 1 without Donovan Mitchell, okay, but they got to win tonight. I mean, if Memphis goes up 2-0, that's
panic button time.
There'd be a little panic in Salt Lake City.
So your second one is my first one.
Okay.
Memphis eliminating Golden State, then winning game 1. The biggest surprise so far. I'm going to bang on Andrew a little bit. Andrew Morton from Friday. His lock was Oakland, Golden State to win over Memphis and Steph to hit the over 38.5. He hit the over. They did lose the game, but Memphis is catching fire.
Yeah.
And someone needs to put it out, or they could pull off this 8-1 upset.
Yeah, I mean, the Jazz, they got to win tonight. It's a must-win game. My number 1, you mentioned it a little earlier in yours, just how I'm going to go the opposite. You went Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
The Clippers. I mean, this was the best regular season team in the NBA last year, or at least in the Western Conference. And I think you could see if they lose this series to Dallas, they're going to break that team up. That they will not be the same team next year. And you got Kawhi Leonard, you got Paul George. I know he's playoff Paul, who never shows up in the postseason, but they got some good players, and they're in danger of getting swept because they got to go to Dallas now for 2. I mean, that's. I'm a little surprised at how that series is going.
So
a little surprised because
it's the
4-5, and Dallas has won me money both nights.
Oh.
So go Mavs.
That's right. Quick recap. My number 5, Brooklyn's Big 3 gelling. Number 4, Milwaukee dominating Miami. Number 3, Luka time. Number 2, the Lakers are actually the 7th seed, so give the Suns some credit. And Memphis knocking out Golden State, and then game 1 against Utah.
Yeah, I mean, my list, I started off very similar to you with the Milwaukee-Miami series, and how easy Milwaukee is making it look. Then we went to, if I remember correctly, I don't have them written down. It was Brooklyn, how easy they're making it look. And then I went all Western Conference, Memphis. It's got Utah in a hole. And then how bad the Clippers look is my top. I didn't think they'd win the Western Conference, but I thought they'd show better than what they have in 2 games so far against Dallas. But keep going, Mavs. You're hot. I'm liking you.
That's right. Trying to win him some more money. On the other side of the break, speaking of Clippers, speaking of bad teams, we must talk about our Major League Baseball team, the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah.
What's going on? We'll be right back. Ian Wentz, John Roberts, Inside the Cave.
Detroit Lions football on 96.5. The Cave.
Wow, we're previewing that early. Sounds like a little Dropkick Murphys there.
We are back inside the cave. Dropkick Murphys. Not quite.
Kind of sounds like them though.
Sure does. Inside the cave this morning. Happy Wednesday.
I think anytime you got some bagpipes and electric guitars going, you got a chance to have a hit on your hands.
That's right. Are we in the wrong business?
Maybe.
Can you play bagpipes?
No.
No, me neither. All right, we'll have to do some work on that. Ian Went, John Roberts with you inside the cave today. It's Wednesday. It's kind of rainy, kind of muggy, kind of warm, but it's always nice and dry inside the cave.
That's a pretty good one. I buy that one. Okay, so not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
You know what is bad?
Yeah.
We have to do it. We have to talk about our Major League Baseball team. The Detroit Tigers, they've been struggling since their sweep in Seattle. Lost again to Cleveland yesterday, 4-1. What are we to make of this team? Well, right now they're one of the worst in baseball. Second worst record in the American League.
Thank goodness for the Orioles.
Behind Baltimore with that spot. Their last 10 games, they're 5-5. They're struggling in division though. Again with that loss to Cleveland. What's your feeling on them at this point? I mean, it's a roller coaster, right?
Yeah, I just. Ugh. You keep playing that music, and I.
Sorry, you think we're going to break?
I do. I almost stopped by disengage.
Sorry. I'll do this one. Is this better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
I really had a little bit of hope when they swept Seattle on the road. And then, you go into Kansas City and you lose 2 out of 3. And now they've lost 2 to the Indians. I really thought they'd be a little better than what they are showing so far this year. I mean, there's been a few bright spots here and there, but I feel like they've taken a step back as a team this year compared to even last year.
Ooh.
I mean,
last year. That's a tough statement.
I felt they overachieved last year, to be honest.